My name is Olivia Bennett, and I never thought I'd feel his hands again. The letter sits unopened on my kitchen counter. Return address, Lucas Prescott, 1452 Pine Avenue, Boston, Massachusetts. After 10 years of silence, the man who shattered my heart into 1,000 pieces has found me. I trace my finger over his handwriting, still the same slanted script that once wrote me love notes in high school, still the same name that makes my heart skip painfully in my chest. Why now? Why, when I finally built a life without him? The morning sun filters through my apartment windows in downtown Chicago, catching on the diamond ring I returned 3 days ago. Another relationship ended because I couldn't fully commit, because some ghost of a memory still haunts me. His memory, his touch. I pour myself another cup of coffee, hoping the bitter warmth might give me courage. 10 years since graduation night. 10 years since promises were broken. 10 years since Lucas disappeared without explanation, leaving me alone with a future we had planned together. Just throw it away, Liv, I whispered to myself, as if I could ever be that strong. My fingers betray me as they slide beneath the envelope flap. My heart pounds wildly. The paper inside feels heavy, weighted with words a decade overdue. Olivia, it begins. Just my name and his handwriting sends electricity through my veins. I'm back in Boston. I know I have no right to ask this of you, but there are things you deserve to know, things I should have told you 10 years ago. I'll be at our spot on the harbor this Saturday at sunset, just once, just to explain. Our spot, the small hidden bench overlooking the water, where we first kissed at 16, where he proposed at 21, where I waited for hours the night he vanished. My coffee grows cold as memories flood back, his green eyes crinkling when he laughed, the way his fingers would intertwine with mine, so naturally, as if our hands were made as matching pieces, the safe feeling of his arms around me during thunderstorms, and then the devastating silence, the unanswered calls, the confusion that turned to heartbreak, that hardened into anger. What could possibly explain abandoning someone you promised to love forever? What words could heal a decade of wondering what I did wrong? Outside my window, Chicago continues its morning rush. My phone buzzes with work messages. My life is here now. I've built something solid from the rubble he left behind. And yet, I find myself reaching for my laptop, checking flights to Boston for this weekend. My fingers hover over the purchase button. Am I really considering this? After everything, I close my eyes and his face appears, not as the boy who left, but as the man he must be now. What does Lucas Prescott look like at 31? Does he still have that dimple in his left cheek? Does he still smell like pine and mint? The rational part of me screams to delete the flight details, to burn the letter, to protect the heart I've carefully pieced back together. But another part, a deeper part, the part that still wakes reaching for him in the darkness, whispers that without answers, I'll never truly be free. I press purchase, $300 to possibly destroy myself all over again. What a bargain. My best friend Madison will call me insane. He doesn't deserve your time, she'll say. And she's right. She held me through months of tears. She watched me rebuild. But this isn't about what Lucas deserves. It's about what I need. Closure, truth, a chance to look him in the eyes, and finally stop wondering. I pack lightly Thursday night, one weekend bag. Nothing fancy. I tell myself I'm not trying to impress him, but I still pack the blue sweater he once said brought out the ocean in my eyes. Pathetic. The flight to Boston is smooth, too smooth. No turbulence to match the storm in my chest. I check into a hotel near the harbor, not the neighborhood where we grew up. Too many ghosts there, too many streets where we walked hand in hand, too many memories of believing in forever. Saturday arrives with cruel perfection. Clear skies, gentle breeze, the kind of autumn day we used to cherish together. I spend hours getting ready, then undoing it all to start again. Hair down, no up, casual jeans, no the dress, no makeup, just a little. By sunset, I've settled on the simplest version of myself. Jeans, the blue sweater, hair loose around my shoulders, a touch of mascara. No armor. The walk to our spot feels surreal. Boston has changed, but somehow the path remains the same. Past the old bookstore where we studied, around the corner from the ice cream shop that served his favorite mint chocolate chip, the harbor comes into view, painted gold and pink by the setting sun. My steps slow as I approach our bench, and then I see him, Lucas. His back is to me, but I'd know those broad shoulders anywhere. His dark hair is shorter now, more neatly kept. He wears a simple gray sweater, his hands stuffed in the pockets of his jeans as he looks out over the water. For one wild moment, I consider turning around, running away, preserving the protective shell I've built around my heart. But then he turns, somehow sensing me, and those green eyes lock with mine. 10 years fall away in an instant. 10 years of building walls crumble beneath that gaze. Olivia, he says, just my name, but the way he says it like a prayer, like coming home, sends shivers down my spine. I force myself to breathe, to remember all the nights I cried myself to sleep, to recall the betrayal. Lucas, I manage, my voice steadier than I feel. You wanted to talk. So talk. He gestures to the bench, our bench, and after a moment's hesitation, I sit. He keeps a respectful distance between us. Too much space. Not enough. Thank you for coming, he begins. His voice is deeper than I remember, more mature. I wasn't sure you would. Neither was I admit. The truth tumbles out before I can stop it. The silence stretches between us, filled with 10 years of unspoken words. A seagull cries overhead, waves lap gently against the shore. I owe you an explanation, Lucas finally says. His hands fidget slightly, a nervous habit he never had before, and an apology, though I know sorry doesn't begin to cover it. I don't help him. Don't offer reassurance. Just wait, my heart thundering against my ribs. The night I disappeared, he continues, voice growing hoarse. My father had a heart attack. This isn't what I expected. Not at all. My mom called while you were getting ready for our graduation dinner. He collapsed at work. It was severe. I rushed to the hospital. You could have called me, I interrupt, the old hurt flaring. Would have gone with you, supported you. Lucas nods, regret etched in the lines that weren't there a decade ago. I should have, but at the hospital, they found something else. He takes a deep breath. Cancer. Advanced. They gave him 6 months, at most. The anger that sustained me for years wavers slightly, but it doesn't explain everything. Lucas, I'm sorry about your father, truly, but that doesn't explain why you cut me out completely, why you disappeared without a word, why you broke every promise we ever made. He looks down at his hands, strong hands that once held mine so tenderly. My father made me swear not to tell you. Said he didn't want charity or pity, but there's more. His voice cracks. The medical bills were astronomical. Insurance covered almost nothing. We were going to lose everything. The pieces start falling into place. A puzzle I couldn't solve for 10 years. My father's business partner offered a solution. His daughter had always had feelings for me. He offered to cover all medical expenses if I married her. The breath leaves my lungs in a rush. You got married? The pain in his eyes is answer enough. I did what I thought I had to do, to save my father's life, to keep my mother from losing everything. Catherine knew it was an arrangement. She didn't care. So all this time, I can barely form the words. I was trapped in a loveless marriage, trying to honor a commitment I made out of desperation. He looks at me directly now. My father lived 3 years instead of 6 months. I don't regret giving him that time, but I regret every day how I hurt you, how I left. You deserved so much better, Olivia. A tear slips down my cheek before I can stop it. Why are you telling me this now, after all this time? Catherine and I divorced last year, he says quietly. The arrangement had run its course. Her father passed away. There was nothing binding us anymore. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a worn piece of paper, carefully unfolding it. I recognize it immediately. The letter I wrote him 6 months after he disappeared, pouring out my heart one last time, asking why, begging for closure. I'd mailed it to his parents' house, never knowing if it reached him. I kept it, he says softly. All this time, I wasn't allowed to respond, but I read it when things got unbearable, when I needed to remember what real love felt like. The harbor blurs through my tears. A decade of anger battles with understanding. The man before me is both familiar and a stranger. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Lucas continues, or for another chance. You've built a life without me, and I respect that. I just thought you deserved to know the truth, that it wasn't your fault, that I never stopped loving you. The words I've both dreaded and longed for, they hang in the air between us, impossible and overwhelming. I have a good life in Chicago, I tell him, needing to protect myself. A career, friends. He nods, a sad smile touching his lips. I'm glad, Marie. You deserve happiness, Olivia. That's all I've ever wanted for you. The sun has nearly disappeared beyond the horizon now, casting long shadows across the harbor. Our time running out, just like before. What about you? I find myself asking. Are you happy, Lucas? The question seems to catch him off guard. He considers it for a moment. I'm getting there. I moved back to Boston 6 months ago, started my own architecture firm, small, but growing. He hesitates. I'm trying to build something honest this time, something real. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. So many emotions war within me. Anger for the years lost, understanding for the impossible choice he faced, and something else, something dangerous stirring beneath it all. Your flight back to Chicago, he says, reading my thoughts as he always could. When is it? Tomorrow afternoon, I reply. The knowledge sits heavy between us. One night in the same city, after 10 years apart. Lucas stands, respecting the boundaries I haven't even set. Thank you for listening, for giving me the chance to explain. He starts to turn away. My hand moves before my mind decides, reaching out to catch his wrist. His skin is warm beneath my fingers, familiar, electric. He freezes at my touch, his eyes meeting mine with such raw hope. It steals my breath. Have dinner with me, I say. Not a question, not quite a demand. I have questions, things I need to know. Relief washes over his features. Anywhere you want. We end up at a small Italian restaurant, neutral territory, away from our old haunts, over pasta and wine. The years between us begin to dissolve. He tells me about his father's final years, the guilt he carried, the silent apartment he shared with Catherine, two strangers bound by a contract rather than love. I tell him about Chicago, my work as an interior designer, the relationships that never quite fit, the life I've carefully constructed. Neither of us mentions the currents pulling beneath the surface, the way our fingers brush when reaching for the breadbasket, the familiar tilt of his head when he listens, the fact that I still remember how his laugh vibrates through his chest. "Do you remember Mrs. Patterson's English class?" he asks, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. I laugh, the sound surprising me. "How could I forget? You passed me so many notes we nearly failed midterms." "Worth it," he says softly. His eyes hold mine across the table. "Every minute with you was worth it." The air between us changes, charged with memory and possibility. We walk back toward my hotel, the night air cool against my flushed cheek. Boston sleeps around us, but I've never felt more awake. "I should go," I say when we reach the lobby, though everything in me fights against the words. Lucas nods, keeping a respectful distance. "Can I call you? Maybe visit Chicago sometime." The question holds no demands, just a quiet hope. 10 years of absence, one night of truths, a lifetime of what-ifs. "I'd like that," I answer honestly. He reaches out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and tucks a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers linger for just a moment against my cheek. That simple touch ignites every memory, every dream, every moment of love between us. "Good night, Olivia Bennet," he whispers, my full name on his lips like a promise. "Good night, Lucas Prescott," I whisper back. I watch him walk away, not disappearing this time, but moving forward, leaving the choice in my hands. In my hotel room, I stand by the window, looking out at the city where we began, where we ended, where perhaps something new might grow from the ashes of what was lost. My phone buzzes with a text. "Sleep well. Thank you for today, for listening, for being you." Such simple words, but they pierce straight through the walls I've built. I press my fingers to my cheek, where the memory of his touch still lingers, warm, alive. So, 10 years ago, Lucas Prescott broke my heart because he thought he had no choice. Tonight, I have a choice: to forgive or hold on to anger, to take a risk or retreat to safety, to open my heart again, or keep it locked away forever. I look at my phone, at his message glowing in the darkness. My fingers hover over the screen. 10 years of questions, one night of answers. And tomorrow is unwritten. I begin to type. I'm not ready to say goodnight yet. Meet me in the lobby in 5 minutes. I press send before courage deserts me. My heart pounds as I grab my room key. Some touches leave marks that time cannot erase. Some loves never truly end. They just wait, patient and enduring, for the moment when two hearts find their way back to where they always belonged. Together. Perhaps this is our second chance. Perhaps this is where our true story began. Not in the past we lost, but in the future we choose. One touch at a time. I step into the elevator, my heart lighter than it's been in 10 years. Ready discover if the memory of his touch can become something real again, something lasting, something true, something that feels, at last, like coming home. The elevator doors slide open to the lobby. My heart pounds against my ribs like it's trying to escape, like it already knows it belongs elsewhere. And there he down. Lucas stands near the entrance, hands in pockets, shifting his weight from one foot to another. Nervous, hopeful, beautiful. When he sees me, his entire face transforms. That smile, God, that smile still has the power to make my knees weak. Hi, I say, suddenly shy, like we're teenagers again on our first date. Hi, he echoes, his voice warm and deep. I didn't think you'd. Neither did I admit. The honesty between us feels both terrifying and necessary. We stand there, two people with 10 years of life etched into our faces, trying to bridge a chasm of time with just our eyes. Walk with me, he asks, not presuming, not pushing, just offering. I nod. We step out into the Boston night. The air feels charged, electric with possibilities. We wander through streets that hold the ghosts of who we once were, past closed storefronts and quiet parks. His hand occasionally brushes against mine, each touch sending sparks up my arm. I used to dream about you, I confess, as we cross the old stone bridge. The water below is dark and still. For years after, you'd be there, and I'd wake up so angry at myself for still wanting to see your face. Lucas stops walking, turns to me. The streetlight catches the pain in his eyes. I never stopped dreaming about you, he says quietly. Not once in 10 years. Catherine knew. She said your name was the third person in our marriage. She wasn't wrong. The weight of lost time hangs between us. So many birthdays, holidays, ordinary Tuesdays, gone. Can I ask you something? I say, leaning against the bridge railing. He nods, joining me in looking out over the water. Were there ever moments when you almost reached out? When you almost broke your promise to your father? Lucas's hands tighten on the stone railing. Every day for 10 years, he whispers. The day after I left, I drove to your parents' house at 3 a.m., sat in my car for hours, almost knocked on your window like I used to in high school. My chest tightens at the image. How different things might have been if he had. The day you graduated college, he continues. I saw the announcement in the local paper. I was there, Liv. In the back of the auditorium, I watched you walk across that stage. I was so proud I could barely breathe. Tears spring to my eyes. You were there? He nods, not meeting my gaze. Every major moment I could find out about. Your first gallery showing. The design award you won 3 years ago. How did you know about that? I ask, stunned. I followed your career online, he admits. Not in a creepy way. I just needed to know you were okay, that you were thriving. It helped me bear what I'd done. I try to imagine it, Lucas watching my life from afar, celebrating my successes in silence, carrying the burden of his choice, while I cursed his name. I hated you, I whisper, needing him to know. For years I hated you with everything I had. I deserved it, he says simply. No excuses, no defense. And yet, I continue, my voice catching. Some part of me never stopped loving you either. Every relationship since, they all ended the same way, with me holding back, with me comparing them to a ghost. Lucas turns to me then, his eyes searching mine, asking a question he doesn't dare voice. Slowly, I reach out. My fingers find his face, trace the line of his jaw, stubble against my skin. Familiar. Different. I don't know what this is, I tell him honestly. I don't know what happens next. But I do know that I'm tired of wondering, tired of ghosts, tired of what ifs. His hand covers mine against his cheek. Royal, present. I don't deserve a second chance, Olivia, he says, voice rough with emotion. But if you're willing to even consider it, I promise I will spend every day making sure you never regret it. The distance between us shrinks, breath by breath, until I can feel the warmth radiating from his body. So close, so far. 10 years of emptiness between us. I'm leaving tomorrow, I remind him. A boundary. I know, he says. I'm not asking for promises, Liv, just possibility. His fingers brush a strand of hair from my face. Just one more day in the same city as you is more than I ever thought I'd have again. And then, in the middle of that bridge, under stars that have watched our story unfold from the beginning, I make a choice. I close the final distance between us, my lips finding his. The first touch is gentle, tentative, a question, but then his arms wrap around me, pulling me against him, and something breaks open inside my chest. 10 years of anger, 10 years of hurt, 10 years of love that never died, just went dormant, waiting for the right moment to bloom again. His lips remember mine. His hands remember the curve of my waist. Our bodies remember a dance perfected in our youth. When we finally part, breathless, foreheads pressed together, the world feels shifted on its axis. Come back to the hotel, I whisper. Not a question, not quite a demand. His eyes search mine. Are you sure? Always careful with my heart now, even when I'm ready to be reckless with it. I take his hand, lace our fingers together, the perfect fit they've always been. No, I answer honestly. I'm not sure of anything, except that I've 10 years wondering what it would feel like to touch you again, to be touched by you, and I don't want to wonder anymore. The walk back feels charged with electricity, with memory, with anticipation. In the elevator, he keeps a respectful distance, but his eyes never leave mine. Dark now, hungry, reflecting the need I can no longer hide. My hotel room door closes behind us. For a moment, we just stand there, the weight of the moment pressing around us. We can just talk, he offers, giving me an out. We don't have to. I silence him with another kiss, deeper this time, more certain. My hands find the hem of his sweater, slide beneath to touch warm skin. He groans against my mouth. Olivia, he breathes. My name, like a prayer on his lips. Clothes fall away. Barriers disappear. His hands rediscover me, reverent, as if memorizing every inch. You're even more beautiful, he whispers against my neck. His lips trace a path lower. How is that possible? Words give way to sighs, to whisper, to the language our bodies never forgot. When we come together, it feels like completion, like puzzle pieces finding their match after being lost for years, like coming home to a place I never thought I'd see again. After, we lie tangled in hotel sheets, my head on his chest, his heartbeat steady beneath my ear. What are you thinking? He asks, fingers tracing patterns on my bare shoulder. The truth spills out, and I'm terrified. His hand stills. Of what? His voice careful, measured. I prop myself up to look at him. Of believing in this. Of trusting that you won't disappear again. Of going back to Chicago tomorrow and discovering this was just closure, not a beginning. Lucas sits up, frames my face with his hands. Listen to me, Olivia Bennett. His eyes hold mine. intense and unwavering. I will never disappear from your life again. Not by choice, not for any reason. If you want me gone, you'll have to tell me to leave. And even then, I'll probably just wait outside your door until you change your mind. A smile tugs at my lips. That sounds a little stalkerish. Lee laughs, the sound vibrating through his chest against mine. Fine, I'll wait respectfully, from an appropriate legal distance. We laugh together, and it feels like healing, like stitching closed a wound that's been open for a decade. What happens tomorrow? I ask, the question that's been hovering between us. Lucas brushes his thumb across my cheek. You go back to your life in Chicago. I stay here and work on my business. And we figure it out, day by day, if that's what you want. Long distance, I ask, skeptical. That's your grand plan? For now, he says, until we've had time to really know each other again. I can fly to Chicago every other weekend. You could come here when you're free. And then, if it feels right, one of us makes a bigger move. He's thought about this, I realize, planned for the possibility that I might not send him away. You'd move to Chicago? I ask, surprised. Leave your business here? His eyes hold mine. I'd move to the moon if that's where you were, Liv. Architecture firms can relocate. What I can't replace is another chance with you. The sincerity in his voice breaks something open inside me, a door I've kept locked for so long. I'm still angry sometimes, I warn him, at what we lost, at the years we could have had. He nods. Me too. But maybe we needed those years. Maybe I needed to become someone worthy of you, someone who makes choices he can live with. I lay my head back on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart, a rhythm I once knew better than my own. One day at a time, I agree finally. No promises, just possibility. His arms tighten around me. That's more than I deserve, more than I ever hoped for. We fall asleep tangled together, the past and future merging into a present, filled with second chances. Morning comes too soon, sunlight streaming through hotel curtains I forgot to close. For a moment, panic seizes me as I feel the weight of an arm across my waist. Then memory returns. Lucas, the truth, the bridge, the night. I turn to find him already awake, watching me with soft eyes. Morning, he whispers. For a second, I thought I'd dreamed you. I touch his face, the stubble rougher now in the morning light. Not a dream, I assure him, and myself. We share breakfast in my room, stealing kisses between bites of room service pancakes, laughing at memories, creating new ones. But the clock keeps ticking. My flight looms closer. Reality presses in. At the airport, he holds my hand tightly, both of us reluctant to let go. I'll call you tonight, he promises, and every night, if you'll let me. I nod, suddenly unable to speak past the lump in my throat. How in leaving him hurt so much, after I've lived without him for 10 years. I need you to know something, Lucas says, his voice serious. Whatever happens between us now, I will never regret last night, having the chance to explain, to see you smile again, to hold you. It's more than I ever thought I'd have. I reach up, press my palm against his cheek. I'll see you soon, Lucas Prescott. A promise, a beginning. His smile is blinding. See you soon, Olivia Bennett. The flight back to Chicago feels different. Not an escape, not running away, but carrying something precious with me. Fragile, new, full of possibility. Madison meets me at the airport. eyes wide with questions when she sees my face. "What happened in Boston?" she demands. "You look different." "I found answers," I tell her simply, not ready to share everything. Not yet. This new, tender thing between Lucas and me feels too precious for scrutiny. That night, true to his word, my phone rings. "I miss you already," Lucas says, his voice wrapping around me like an embrace. "I miss you too," I admit. The words no longer feel like a betrayal to myself. Days pass into weeks. Phone calls stretch for hours. Texts throughout the day. Video chats, where we fall asleep with screens propped beside our pillows. 3 weeks after Boston, my doorbell rings on Friday night. I open it to find Lucas, rain-soaked and grinning, a weekend bag slung over his shoulder. "Surprise," he says, looking boyish and nervous. I couldn't wait any longer. I pull him inside, into my arms, into my life. He explores my Chicago world that weekend, meets Madison, who eyes him suspiciously, until he wins her over with stories of how he followed my career from afar. Borderline stalking, she tells him, but somehow romantic. 2 weeks later, I fly to Boston. He shows me his small architecture firm, introduces me to his mother, who hugs me tight and whispers, "He never stopped loving you." Not for a single day. Months pass. Seasons change. We build a rhythm of weekends together, weekdays apart, learning each other again, creating something new from the foundations of what was. It's not always easy. Sometimes old hurts surface. Sometimes I wake from nightmares, where he disappears again. Sometimes he hesitates before sharing parts of his life, old habits of protection hard to break. But we talk. We listen. We choose each other, day after day. 6 months after that night on the bridge, Lucas meets me at O'Hare with nervous eyes. "What's wrong?" I ask as we walk to my car. He takes a deep breath. "I got offered a partnership with a major firm. They want to merge with my company." My heart sinks. "In Boston?" He shakes his head. "Here, in Chicago." I stop walking. "You're moving here?" His eyes search mine. "If you want me to, if it's not too fast, if you're ready for that step." The airport noise fades away. Just Lucas and me, standing at another crossroads. "Are you sure?" I ask. "Your whole life is in Boston." He takes my hands in his. "My whole life is wherever you are, Olivia. It always has been, even when we were apart." 2 months later, I help Lucas move into his new Chicago apartment, just 10 minutes from mine. Close, but still giving us space to grow together at our own pace. On a snowy evening in December, exactly 1 year after I received his letter, Lucas takes me back to Boston, back to our harbor, back to our bench. Snow falls softly around us. The harbor lights reflect on the dark water. His hand holds mine, warm despite the cold. "Do you remember what you wrote in your letter?" he asks suddenly. "The one you sent 6 months after I left." I shake my head. Not exactly, just that I was angry and heartbroken. Lucas reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out the worn paper, unfolds it carefully. "You wrote, if we were truly meant to be, if what we had was real, then someday we'll find our way back to each other. And if that day ever comes, I hope we're both brave enough to fight for what we once lost." Tears sting my eyes. I'd forgotten those words, written in a moment of desperate hope, before anger took root. Lucas tucks the letter away, then kneels before me in the snow. My breath catches. "Lucas, We found our way back, he says, voice trembling with emotion. Against all odds, despite all my mistakes. And I promise you, Olivia Bennet, I will spend every day of the rest of my life fighting for what we once lost, for what we've rebuilt, for the future we deserve. He pulls out a small box. Inside, a simple diamond ring, not like the flashy one he gave me at 21. This one is elegant, timeless, perfect. Will you marry me? He asks, not because of who we were, but because of who we are now, who we've become, who we can be together. Snow collects on his dark hair, on his shoulders. The boy I loved has become this man kneeling before me, patient, strong, mine. Yes, I whisper, then louder, yes. He slides the ring onto my finger, then pulls me into his arms. His lips find mine, sealing our new promise. Some loves are meant to endure. Some separations are just detours on the way back to where we belong. Lucas and I were given a second chance, not because we deserved it, but because we needed it. Because sometimes the universe knows that two souls aren't finished with each other yet. 10 years apart taught us both what matters, what endures, what's worth fighting for. As we walk hand in hand through the snowy Boston night, I realize that the memory of his touch has been replaced by something far better. The reality of it, the promise of it, for all the days to come. My name is Olivia Bennet, soon to be Prescott, and this is not the end of our story. It's just the beginning of the chapter we were always meant to write. Together, at last.